Hello again, you glorious Godot people. Jan from Canopy Games here, and I wanted to talk to you real quick about collision layers, because collision layers are awesome. I'm going to be doing some stuff in 2D. I've just created a very simple white square and white platform. They're exactly what they sound like. Just get rid of those for now. And let's start by making a brand new 2D scene. I'm just going to call it scene. And in this, I'm going to make a simple static body. So let's make a static body. And I'm going to call this platform. And let's add a sprite. I'm going to drag my white platform over there and go back up to platform and press add, and let's add a collision shape. Boop, collision shape 2D. And this is going to be a rectangle, and I'll click on that, and this is going to be, I happen to know that this is 256 wide, so that's 128 from the extant, because extants go from the center. And this one is 16 high. So it's 32 by 256. So you divide that by half. So here is my platform, and I'm going to hide the collision shape so we can see it. And let's just save that branch as scene. So I'm going to save that as platform. And let's move you down to here for now. I can just duplicate you a couple of times. And let's move this one. Bibbidi bobbidi. Great. And you know what? We can even rotate one. So let's rotate you like that and move you. Awesome. So here are my platforms. Okay, now let's bring in the Godot cube. So I'm going to make a brand new rigid body. And let's give that a sprite. And drag in the icon. And this is 64 by 64. So back up to rigid body, add in collision shape. And the extant goes from the center to the edge. So it's going to be, not ray shape. Come on, Jan. Rectangle shape. It's going to be 32 by 32. And I'm going to call that Godot cube. And let's save that branch as scene as well, so we can instance it to our heart's content. And let's just see how that's working. So I'm going to put that right there. Gravity is all normal. It's going to be kind of floaty, but let's press play. Never been saved. Yep, save the scene. And very slowly, bop, 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 hit the edge, fall down. Great, exactly what we would expect. So what if we want other things? Let's say that's our PC or whatever it is. Let's add in a new cube. So let's add in another rigid body. And let's give it a sprite. And I'm just going to drag in my white square. And a new collision shape. It's exactly the same deal. Which is also a rectangle. Which is also 32 by 32. Remember, that's the extants. The actual sprite is 64 by 64. I'm going to save that branch as scene as well. Oh, let's rename it white cube. And let's drag that over to here. Okay, so we would expect the same kind of thing to happen, and we won't be disappointed. Let's just save scene as our default. Take a look at how that looks. Things are falling kind of floatily. Great, exactly what we'd expect. However, we don't have to do it this way. So let's say we want a different kind of platform. In this case, maybe it's a checkpoint or a force field. So I'm going to make a brand new instance scene. So new inherited scene. I'm going to inherit from platform. And it's going to be exactly the same, but I'm going to modulate it. So under visibility, let's go modulate, and let's make this blue. Let's make this a nice blue like that. And I'm going to call this blue platform. And let's save you as blue platform. And I'm going to bring you in. So just use the link symbol and bring in blue platform. And here's my nice blue platform. It's exactly the same as a white platform, but it's a blue one. Great. Now what I want is for the Godot cube to be able to go through it, but not the white cube. And currently that won't happen, right? So if I press play, bonk, 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 right? This is just a platform. What I can do is set up my collision layers. Now on every single, every single physics body, there we go, which is a static body, a rigid body, a kinematic body, and in 3D, a vehicle body. On every single one, we can access this collision information here, layer and mask. Layer, what collision layer am I on? Mask, which collision layers do I interact with? Right now, everything is on this layer. And if I look at them, if I mouse over them, you can see this is layer 1, which is bit 0 with the value of 1. This one here is bit 1 with the value of 2, bit 2 with the value of 4. These are binary values. There are 32 of them, and you can make any number. So if I want to make 9, that's 1 plus 2, 4, 8. There we go. So that's 8 plus 1 This is now collision layer 9. Okay, so we can assign it with various collision layers, and we could do that in script as well if we wanted to. Let's make this easy for ourselves. We're going to go to Project Settings and scroll down to 2D Physics, and I can name my layers. So let's say Godot Cube is going to be layer 1, White Blob is on here, let's say Platform is on here, and Blue Platform is on here. Now, these can be anything I want. I'm just going to name them these for now, and then when I come out here, they should be renamed. If they're not renamed, don't worry, Godot just hasn't refreshed itself. So what we can do is we can change to a different scene, come back, and you'll see them. So let's pick our Godot cube, and we're going to open the actual scene so it knows this is for the scene. All instances of Godot cube are on this layer. So they are Godot cube, and they can interact with Godot cube, they can interact with themselves. They don't really need to. They can interact with White Blob, and they can interact with Platform, but they will not interact with Blue Platform. So because it's not there on the mask, it won't show. Okay, let's open the next one. Blue Platform is here. Fantastic. I was going to open Collision. And you are a Blue Platform. And I don't really need to put the masks in here at all. I can leave this blank because the Godot cube is going to interact with it. However, I can also put them in like that. So let's just put them in. And what else we have? We have the white cubes and the platforms. So same deal. Open the scene. Open Collision. You are a white blob. Why do I call it white blob? Nah, it's a white blob now. And you can interact with absolutely everything. And finally, platforms. Let's open the actual base scene. You are a platform, and you can interact with absolutely everything. Okay, so now, when I look at the scene, if I press the collision, it's all updated. And now when I press play, we can see that the Godot cube isn't going to interact at all with these blue ones. Now that can be quite useful for us. So let's put you, let's select the right thing, white cube, move you over here. There's a bunch of things we could do. One, we could do this with force shields or pickups. So NPCs can't pick things up, or player 1 can pick this up but not player 2. But there's other stuff we can do. Anytime we have a collision, we can set these layers up. So to take a look at this, let's say that we want a raycast coming out of this Godot cube right here. So I'm just going to zoom into the Godot cube. We're going to put a raycast coming down. And when that raycast is detecting one of these white platforms, we're going to change the color of the actual Godot cube. So we'll start off by making Godot cube, and we'll put a script in it. I'm just going to put a basic blank script. So there's an empty one. And here's our empty script. Great. Okay, so let's just zoom in here so we can see what we're doing. So let's add a raycast. And it's going to go from the center and draw on the y-axis by 50. Let's put that down to 100. It looks reasonable. Okay, and I want to make sure it's enabled by default, otherwise nothing's going to happen. So far, so good. Now, one thing we can do is we can say, okay, let's put in a function for physics process. Why physics process? We're using the physics engine. Let's stay with that frame rate. Okay, so let's say if raycast dot is colliding, and then we want to do something. Now, the thing we're going to do is we're going to change the color. So real quick, let's just get our modulate in here. So that's the property modulate. And let's say that we're going to have simple white, which is going to be on, which is going to be color 1, 1, 1, and a variable off, which is going to be color 0, 0, 0. So it'll go black, which means we won't be able to see what it is. Okay, so far so good. So if it's colliding, what are we going to do? Well, what we can do is we can say, all right, if you're colliding with something and the name of that thing includes platform, or it's of the type rigid body, or that thing has a modulate property which is set to 1, 1, 1, and all of that's kind of cumbersome. Instead, let's make sure the raycast can only interact with what we want it to. So let's say you can only interact with the platform. So using the collision mask, you can't interact with your parent, you can't interact with white blobs, you can't interact with blue platforms. And then what we can do is we can say, okay, if you are colliding, I want the cube to be black. Okay, so we'll say modulate equals off, else modulate equals on. And you know what? I'm going to make sure the raycast is actually quite short for this. Let's say it's a 64. Is that good? Yeah, it's pretty good. In fact, even shorter. 32, too short. 48. That sounds good. Okay, let's see how that works. And here we go. And it's going to detect this one, go black. It's out of range, and it's not detecting that because the raycast is going here. This will work with areas. This will work with collision bodies, whatever we need it to do. We can use the collision to only interact with things we want to. So if you've got, for example, ammunition that can only be used by a certain class of player, or if you've got a door that you can only see when you're wearing certain goggles, you can change the collision mask that you can use in code. And to do that, it's very simple. We could just go in here, and let's say I'm going to make a brand new function called change collision. And let's say collision mask equals, and then you just have to type in the number. And how to find the number? Well, you just add up these bits. So if I wanted you to ask like this is 1, 2, and 4. That's 1 and 2 is 3, 3 and 4 is 7. It's on 7. So right now it's on 7. And you know what? Let's just put this as a ready function just to show that that's going to work. And run that. And it behaves exactly as we want it to do. Okay, so that's just a quick introduction to ways that you can use collision layers and collision masks to really ramp up the efficiency of your game. So I hope that helped, and meanwhile, excellent work, and I shall see you in the next video.